I've been looking forward to this, and I'm going to make you the presenter. So your mic should come on, and perhaps you'll share your screen with us. Beautiful.
How you doing, Dale? You hear me?
Great to hear your voice and have a conversation with you, Ron.
How you been?
I'm okay. So I consider this the first time we've had a chance to talk. We've done it in the chat and we've communicated on Twitter, but it's always nice to put a voice to a handle or a name. So let me start off with what Blake asked me to ask you. Why Captain 2/10?
Well, there's always been another Ron that preceded me in the Wise Trade chat rooms, and so we got the sailor part of it a little early on, so that was pretty easy. And then one day when Blake's pontificating about bearish engulfing candles or bullish engulfing candles, whatever it was that day, I thought, well, throw my 2 cents in here. 2 cents a bit. And okay. So I picked a currency pair and I said, well, is that one? And of course, he blows it up in front of everybody and goes, no, you're wrong. It's 2/10 off. Click. So there it was, Captain 2/10. Right. Pretty simple.
Okay. How long have you been trading now, Ron?
The first couple of years, 7 years about, first couple of years was off and on, still been, doing some other business stuff and things like that. So, seriously, the last 5.5 years, I would say. Okay,
and would you consider yourself on a macro basis a successful trader after 7 years? And how long did it take you to get there?
It took me to get with Wise Trade and Blake to become successful. Okay. So it took me about 1.5 years, 2 years. I found him on Twitter. I thought anybody named Pipsar has to be, just
what a great handle. Yeah.
So anyway.
He's kind of like Nicholas of Russia. He's
whatever.
A czar. Yeah,
right.
And he's a legend. Blake's a legend in his own mind.
Absolutely. You got to be.
We all are. Anyway, Blake is great. You know what I'm curious about, and I know a lot of it has to do with relationships that you form with people over time, but when you started trading successfully, why would you subscribe to any service?
Well, for me, being, a home office, I'm not in a social context. I used to own a mortgage company and I've been in the real estate and development business. So, I'm used to being out amongst people, most of the day. And, being, in the home office setting, you wonder sometimes, well, what I'm going to do is sit here and look at these colored lines for the rest of my life. So to me, it really helped that way. The other is the interaction and the input you get from other traders. Not to say that you have to agree with it or you have to trade that way, but I think it's important that at least you look at it and go, okay, well, I don't do that because of this, and I do this because of that. So it's like Steve Jobs said, right? It's the combination of things. So the interaction of, and of course you guys have proven this now with F.A.E. is that the people that you have, the product that you've developed, I think for those people that are just on the webinar and stuff like that, give it a shot. They got, whatever the entry is, do it a month or two. If you don't like it, say la vie. But it's you will pay for your subscription. That's for sure.
Okay. All right. Well, could it be besides the social aspect, you touched on it a little bit, and then I want to get into your journey, is that we only have two eyes, and are there occasions where you're in the chat room and someone posts a chart that you weren't even looking at, and now that you've seen it, you end up considering taking a trade? I know Blake says he gets a lot of his good trade ideas from the private chat room.
All the time. all the time.
Okay.
I would say more than, I don't know about more than half, but you know, 40 per,
Okay.
a good 30-40%. You know, I didn't look at that. You buzz down there and look at it, and you know, if it fits my criteria, then you know, I jump it.
Yeah, so you have 180, 200 eyeballs out there collaborating with you. Now, Ron, I want you to trust me. We're going to get in a time machine and we're going backwards. All right, and we're going back to before Wise Trade. Tell me about how you got introduced to trading, who did it, what it was like for you, say the first 6 months in the trying to do this on your own.
The real estate market, was challenging to say the least. So I wanted to find something where, you know, it was totally up to me. You know, I hit the button. You either hit the button or you don't. I don't have to look to anybody else. So, you know, that's what I was looking for. I didn't want to be in a retail business. I'm 63. I don't need to start another business. I'm okay when it comes to that. So I wanted something that was challenging, flexible. I do a fair amount of sailing, that you can, don't have to babysit the entire time, but I do find myself, riding screens a lot.
Okay.
So that's kind of what took it at me. I made $3,000 the first week, which was the worst thing, as you're well aware of. That can never happen to you.
Right.
So, and I just kept getting bitch slapped around. Huh?
Did you ever blow out an account?
No, I've never blown out an account, but I've had to refund one, so I would consider that the same. Okay. It never went to zero, but I put more money.
Yeah, I didn't blow out an account. I once had 85 cents left.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
it was a little more than that, but I did have to put the time into it.
I'm giving you a hard time. So, I find it interesting that your other passion and love is sailing. And, sometimes what we do that we love, there's some similar things. Are there any metaphors between navigating the ocean? Because I know you're in Florida, you've probably taken some long trips and navigating markets.
I don't know if it's correlated like that, but when you're racing with a team, you need patience. You need to wait to see what develops. The weather is very fickle; it changes all the time.
Sounds like the markets.
Yeah. So like I say, you can't control the wind; you can't even see it, but you can adjust your sails. So that's, you need to be nimble. It's pretty competitive around here. So if you want to do well, you got to work hard, and you got to be patient. You got to be patient.
What's the most beautiful place you've ever sailed to?
British Virgin Islands.
Okay, St. John's. Oh
yep,
no, that's the American Virgin Islands.
Well, they're a stone's throw. I mean, that whole chain is 28 miles, 26 nautical miles. So
have you been there since last season's hurricanes?
No, I have not been there since the storm.
Okay. All right. So let's get to your setups here, Ron, and talk about what you use and what you look at, and possibly even what you're seeing here in cables. So why don't you give us a rundown of, some of the things you look at? I see dotted lines. I see highlighted prices. Why don't you give us a breakdown of your style?
All right. Let me just pop the euro up here and just go over the setup that I use. These solid red lines are the last 20 days, highs and lows. So I always mark out the last 20 days. And of course that gets moved every day. I got to move them every day almost. So it kind of gives you that feeling of, where that overall or underlying market may or may not be going. So I have a 20-day sleeve there. I also know if it breaks that, it's time to pay attention. And doesn't mean you jump all over it. It could be a false break, like over here in the euro, you can see right here. Yeah. Or, it can rock on you. So I like to have everything on my screen, so I don't need to go anywhere else to find out everything I'm doing with that currency pair. So the red dashed lines are my shorts. So those are my entries. So I got 3 in the money and I got 1 out of the money. The yellow solid lines are areas of interest to me when it comes to price.
Why?
There's price action to the left that tells me that that may be an area where real money, they, who we're talking about, have entered or made a move.
Okay, now that's a pearl from Ron for everyone who's fairly new. To find your pivots, resistance, support, you always have to look left, and that's the market's memory. Right. Okay, Ron, so that was a good mentoring thing there, to look left. All right.
My main thing, I use some other tools, which I'll get into here, but my main thing on the price screen is I use some EMAs. They're all EMAs. They're all the same on all the time frames. I do my setups on the 4-hour and 1 hour, and I look to execute on the 5 and 15. So,
okay, so what are the EMAs that you use?
The faster ones are 9 and 13.
Okay.
I'm not sure that makes a difference, but when you look at those, or at least when I look at them, I see that price usually reacts off them.
Okay.
So that's why I use those. The 48, the 48.
48 day, like the purple one, or
the black line there is, I'm looking at a 4-hour. So let's drop down to a 1 hour here. Well, let's just leave it here. So this black line right here is the 4-hour 48.
Okay.
I always know what's going on with the 1 and the 4-hour 48. Always. So on this, here's a 1 hour. So on TradingView, because you can't default to another one, I know in some trading forums you can. But anyway, this black line's the 1 hour 48. This pink line here, or lavender, represents the 4-hour 48.
Okay.
Why the 48s? So I'm trolling through Twitter about a year and a half ago, and Bloomberg did a quant study. And they did a quant study to determine the most reliable EMAs. And they say the 48 was. So it's Saturday afternoon, I'm not doing nothing, so I go in, fire up the machine, take a blank screen, throw a 48 on it.
Yeah, because most would be using a 50. Were you using a 50 before that?
It would, maybe it would vary. It just never, I never found something that I just, I was doing okay, but something that I just absolutely stuck with.
Right.
This is solid for me. I won't change these. And if you drop one on a 48 and just stare at it, you'll see why. Yeah. If it's above the 48, you want to look for longs, and if it's below, you want to look for shorts.
Yeah, and it has served you well on the euro here.
It's served me well. It'll serve you well on everything. You'll see here the cross here.
Yeah.
Of the 1 in the 4-hour 48. Nitish pointed this out to me. He said, "Hey, go back and take a look at that."
Yeah. Nice.
And what do you see? You'll see some nice continuation. So the 48s are very important to me.
So you know what? That's another good one. Someone, Nitish, saw your work and then saw something in your work that you didn't see, pointed it out to you, and improved your work from his input.
Absolutely.
See, another advantage of the community is that, people look with an analytical eye at your work, and they see you're successful, and they can make suggestions to you to be considering other things. So, that, to me, that's great. That's what a community does. They support each other. So, okay, go ahead. Sorry for my, my homily.
No, that's okay.
I just think it's so cool how people help each other. It's, I get jazzed when, people are supporting each other and helping each other get better. That's like right. Steel sharpens steel.
Absolutely. So the 48s are very, very important to me. If you have faster EMAs that you love and they seem to work for you, I'm not so sure the 9 and 13 is etched in stone. But again, when you look at a 1 hour or a 4 hour and you say, "Oh, gee, look at, price didn't didn't go through it. Well, that tells me something.
Right.
So,
so these are all your market.
That's the price trace. That's it. That's the, now, do I use fibs? Do I do lateral support? Do I use trend lines? Absolutely. I'll get to trend lines in a little bit.
Okay.
The other thing that I've used, I just double clicked on the RSI. So, you know, I'm getting slapped around. I'm going, come on, I got to figure out something here. What can help me get in and out of trades better? And I'm thinking, okay, what do all the pros use? What do you always see on every pro's screen? And not that that's their trading screen, because you don't know, but let's just assume it is. Well, you'll see the RSI. I go, okay, so this is standard 14 RSI. I have the shaded area is the 60-40. That's the chop zone.
Okay.
I will not purchase in the chop zone.
Okay.
All right, we'll go back here. Let's drop down to 15 minute.
You won't buy or sell in that zone.
I will sell in here. So if I'm like in here, like yesterday, okay. I had a short here that I took. Okay. So I have a short from here, from the other day. Yeah. Lower, fine. You can see where the RSI went down here, and I'm going to talk about that in a second. So I exited there. But here's an example. Look at that. Yeah. So if you're getting chopped, you know, up, take a look at that.
Yeah.
Don't trade in there. Just don't do it. You're going to be a lot happier. Especially, you know, if you're a screenwriter, fine. You know, if you don't spend a lot of time in front of the screens, of course, you know, you don't see this crap. But when you're sitting here grinding away through Asia or late New York, that's a 5 p.m. separator, then, you know, you're just getting frustrated. And then you start searching for stuff, and before you know it, you make a mistake.
And you're just making your broker rich.
That's all you're doing. They love it. There's a reason why they're doing that. So anyway, the 60-40, you know, will I close a trade or peel some in there? Yeah, because I don't know what's going to happen next. It could come right up and take me straight out. So, you know, one of the things that I always try to do is get to break even plus something. Because if it comes out up and takes me back out, I can say this. I can say I was wrong and I made money.
Another pearl.
I was wrong and I made money.
Yeah.
Now, I don't care what these other guys on Twitter say about, you know, you should never go, you know, shut up. You're not writing me a check. I don't care. You know, you should be peeling and going to the bank all the time because you don't know where price is going, and neither do they. So
do you do a lot of, do you come out of partials, or are you kind of all in, all out?
No, I partial it all the time now.
Okay.
I usually do, you know, if I really think it's going to drop through the roof, then I'll do quarters. I like doing thirds because to get around to FIFO, I got 3 accounts.
Okay.
So if I do it in thirds, I can play each entry, you know, exactly how I want to. And one has no correlation with the other.
You trade with stops?
Yes.
Okay.
But I move them a lot.
Okay.
And I don't mind being small and wide at all. And
okay.
That's usually how I start.
So you give us an example of why you would move a stop.
Why would I move a stop to break even?
Oh, okay. All right. You don't move your original stop after entry until the trade has adjusted and it's in your favor.
Well, not necessarily. Even if it's in my favor, let's say something stupid comes out, like, you know, our famous tweeter, or just something that's ridiculous and price action goes the other way, and you go, come on, that's got jack to do with anything. So you got to wait it out. So, you know, if I need to bump it another 20 or something like that, I'll do it. I use 40 as a base. In my long-term account, I'll use whatever the ATR is. So if the ATR is $140, I'll use 140.
Okay.
If the ATR is 90, I'll start with 90.
Okay.
Let me finish this RSI here because this is the basis of what I do, and it's really simple, and you know.
Is it any, do you have to have any certain type of risk to reward to qualify to take it? Just take it and see what kind of bar.
Yeah, you know, it's you know, Blake said 2.5 years ago that, you know, when we hit a high, whatever that is, that we're going to be in a chop market for maybe the next 5 years, maybe forever. And man, is he right. And when you think about who we trade against now, we trade against, you know, machines. They don't care if they made $1 million at 10 o'clock. They don't care. And they don't care if they lost $3 million at 10 o'clock. So, you know, how do you deal with that?
You have to become a machine.
Yeah, and then you got all this other input from 3 million other sources. You know,
makes your head explode.
Yeah, if you're trying to evaluate that for a trade, good luck.
Yeah.
So here's what
you can get info overload, can't you?
Yeah, I don't look at Twitter all day.
Okay.
I can't. Some guys can, and maybe I don't use it properly. Maybe I got, you know, whatever. I follow a couple people that I pay attention to, and that's about it.
Okay.
Let me finish this RSI here. Now you can see here's the 60-40. Okay, that's the chop zone. I do not purchase in the chop zone.
Right.
All right. So I have a dashed line here, which is what I call max, and then I have an extreme. And I do this on each pair. So you have kind of a customized little RSI on each pair. So what do? I sell here, okay, and I buy down here. You notice I'm so stupid that I even have to make sure that these are green and red. Okay?
Yeah.
All right. You know, if I'm on a 4-hour chart, I am not buying up here.
Right.
I don't buy. Now, can it go up further? Well, hell yeah. Do I miss it? Yeah. I don't buy. I don't sell down here. But as you can see, the numeric over here to the right is nothing. I don't care if it's 78, 30, 12, 9, whatever. I'm interested in these touches. And this is dynamic, so you're always updating it.
Okay.
And what I'm looking for is where are your action points? Not exactly maybe the highs or lows, but, you know, it may blast through this. But, you know, if I'm long here, I'm looking at a 4-hour RSI, I can tell you that's a good trade. I can tell you that's a good trade. That's a good trade. That's a good trade, so on and so forth. And then I just work my way down. So that has really helped me, and it's helped me do two things. One, I don't get caught being long here, or I'm sorry, being short here, or being short here. So I don't get trapped anymore. You can see that's divergent. That's a great trade. Right. And I couple divergence with this, by the way. But anyway, so I don't get trapped down here, and I don't get trapped up here. So that has helped me prevent myself. You know, we've all had it. You know, we enter a trade, and then it goes 200 against me. Huh? Well, I would challenge everybody to go back over the weekend or when you have time, take your 10 most recent losers and take your 10 winners and lay them out against the RSI and see where you got in and out.
Great idea.
The other thing that I use is I use trend lines. And there's no trend line police that are going to come to your house and arrest your ass. So you can do this safely.
I don't know. Mueller's looking at trend lines now too.
Yeah, he could be. So he may be on the way. He'll be disappointed with me. That's for sure.
Maybe we shouldn't have recorded this conversation.
Yeah. I know more about you than you think I know, Dale, because you used to buy jewelry for your girlfriends in my uncle's jewelry store in DeKalb.
Oh my God, yeah.
I know lots about you.
Don't tell anyone.
Yeah. So anyway, the other problem that I had that this solved for me on the shorter time frames and the 4-hour, depending on this works on any time frame that I found, is when do I get out? When do I peel some? When do I take profits? So you can see on this euro, I got it spread out here. Here's the 4-hour. I got a couple of nice entries up here at it's 125 and change and a little under 125. I took a quarter here, and you can see why. Right down here.
Nice. Yeah.
Now I took a third here. I marked that a quarter, so that means I know that's a third. And if you drop down to 1 hour, you'll see that the 1 hour is pegged. But again, you can just drop a trend line on this, guys, and let it do the work. You got to give it a little room, to breathe. It's not a linear game. It doesn't go straight up or down. Now, does that mean it can't go down further? Well, no. So, you draw another trend line like that. And at the end of the day, it takes me 20 minutes to get all the trend lines off my charts. I don't care.
Okay, so you're mainly using trend lines on the RSI, not on the price structure.
Both.
Oh, okay.
You can draw a primary here and then a tertiary there. Okay. And then you can have your big one here. So if you trade, a 4 hour chart, you may be looking here, that may be your primary. Whereas me, I'm looking here, and then because I'm down on the 1 hour and the 15 minute. Okay. This is probably how that would look if you transferred that to a 4 hour, something like that. All but right. It gets you out down here nice, and it gets you out nice and tight there. So don't be afraid to use it. It's so simple. I'm sorry?
You're a natural teacher, You ever teach anyone your methods and people come to you and said, Ron, will you show me what you do?
Yeah, I've helped a few people. There's one gentleman in our chat that asked me in mid-December, and he's doing quite well. So.
Oh man, that's great, Ron.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
So divergence.
Ron's paying it forward in the chat room. What do you think, guys? Got to get in there. All right, go ahead, man.
Divergence. Yeah. So
here I don't know anything about RSI. So.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. You know something about jewelry and girlfriends.
Yeah, but I thought I'd learned from the master trader today.
Yeah. Right. That was funny. Master. At least you didn't put the other thing on it, which I thought you were going to do, but I thought it was coming. But anyway.
I used the right consonant.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Close. All right. I took this trade this morning, right? Yeah. So there's a 15-minute. Yeah. Nice and divergent here.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm long right here. And where does it stop to? First stop. There it is, 48. Nice. So that's the 48. There's the 1 hour 48.
Okay.
So that's probably my target. We'll see what happens here. Now again, if you want to play it tight, I'm in at 97. That's where are we at? We're at 30. So that's one little trade.
Would you take a piece off up 30?
I'm doing okay here, so I'll probably wait. But if I was, it would be a quarter, because I think we're going to see this. This is going to come down. This looks too happy up here. They got to fill this price gap here. So somewhere up, I think, in this range.
Okay.
So we'll see. I took a little AJ this morning. I'm just trying to show you just a few setups real quick. Same thing. Divergent, maxed, right?
Yeah.
That's on the 15-minute. Divergent.
Yeah.
So part of the thing that people have been saying or looking at, I think in the chat room, is, man, you're top ticking this crap. Well, sometimes I do and sometimes I don't. But what is the key? The key is divergence in the RSI. Now, does that mean all the time, if it's divergent, you throw the barn at it? Well, as we all know, nothing works all the time. Of course not. But then, go to a higher time frame. So let's just see what that looks like. Divergent, down we go. So where are we at on this one? I'm at an 84, 83, 84. What do I get? 8404. So I got 16. I got 20 on that.
Okay.
That's 50. Real easy, straight off. So there's 50 points from this is from about 7 this morning. I think these entries were. And
nice work.
One other I was just gonna point out real quick. So, and that was the pound. I think we're looking at that.
Yeah, you started with the pound up there.
Yeah, there you go. Same thing. Here.
Right.
Divergent. Yeah. Took a little shot.
Yeah.
So, So divergence to me means distribution.
Okay.
That means after
At
this
the
run
top.
up here at the top, yeah, I'm
At
looking
the
only
bottom,
at,
it means accumulation to you, right?
no, it means distribution at the bottom also.
Oh, okay.
They're getting rid of their shorts.
Okay.
So what they do down here? And remember, you only, RSI is based on the close. So I don't use the wicks when I'm determining RSI. Do I look at the wicks for pricing and things like that? Well, yeah, of course.
Right. And you never know what kind of candle it is till it closes.
It's not a candle till it closes, as you say.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
go ahead.
So again, if it's not divergent, then I look to it to be a regular retrace, just a standard retrace, possible continuation down in the direction it was. So, and these, again, I don't throw the barn at it when I see it. I mean, I am paying attention now. You have my attention. Now I look for my other stuff. Now I use my price tools, which you had this guy on, I believe, on February 22nd, and ICT, and Huddleston.
Oh, okay.
And I use 3 of his concepts, and they have really worked well for me. And
okay.
that is the price gap. Liquidity pools are real simple, and like you've tried to beat this into everybody has. Man, this market runs on liquidity. You have to identify where the stops are. So, like you said on that other trade, when I peel some off, now I'm kind of looking for where the stops are first. Let them run some stops.
Interesting.
Always. So the first thing I'm looking for, first thing in the morning, okay, where is the liquidity? Do I have any divergence? Do I have any order blocks?
Do you write things down, or you just know from scanning your charts?
No, I write things down.
Okay.
I hand write them down.
Okay.
I keep a journal of every trade. I print the screen.
Okay.
I make notes on it.
Beautiful. Because you'd forget all this stuff if you didn't, wouldn't you?
I would.
Not everything, but and NLP says it's imprinted in your memory more after you write something than if you think something.
Absolutely. And I know some people can use tablets, and I'm not the most computer savvy guy, et cetera, so on and so forth. For me, writing it down, it's in front of me.
Right.
Then when I close a trade, I print it. I make my notes on it. I put it in my binder, what I did right, what I did wrong, how it ended up, how much of my checklist of entry points were covered. Did I have 4 out of 5? Did I have 3 out of 5? Was it kind of a flyer and it just worked out? So on and so forth.
So, Ron, I've seen a lot of people trade, and I've done a lot of interviews, and I've seen a lot of charts, and I could say that no matter the method that you chose, that the ingredient for your success is your disciplined nature, that you would have found different pivots, different moving averages, but your discipline and, writing things down and your preparation is really a key ingredient that most people don't have in their personality. Okay, so I would say that being a disciplined guy, what you probably have to be a sailor, and also to navigate markets is really the key element I get out of talking to you for half an hour. Congratulations.
Well, thank you. Let me just stick this in here. Okay. Yesterday we were all complaining about the pound yen here, me being one of them. But one of the reasons why I didn't jump here on this short is it's not divergent. Confirmed, so it went higher. So now waited. I'm going to wait, and I may jump this heavy because I'm doesn't mean I don't have losing trades, man. Selma's got me up in the face, and my yen pairs are up in my face. My AN has been awful. I bottom ticked it, and I went in with a pretty good size, so I should be able to straighten that one out. But
are you self-taught about knowing about RSI divergences and the implications of when there is no divergence, that when the market confirms
No,
That tells you something too.
no, that came from Huddleston.
Okay.
So divergence equals distribution. If you do not have divergence, then you're looking at possible accumulation for
Another leg.
For another leg. Now, again, that doesn't necessarily mean that's exactly what's going to happen. You know, there are instances, you know, where you could have, you know, some divergence early, and then it's not divergent the rest of the way. Well, then I just sit back and I let them show me which way they're going to go, and when they do, then I'll rock with them.
How do you feel about not having to trade on? Do you ever have days where you do nothing, or because you scan so many things that you trade every day, like Blake?
Yeah, it's pretty rare, to be honest with you,
Okay.
that I don't have something on, but it doesn't trouble me at all to not to have anything on. You know, cash is a position. And I'm finding that now that I think I have a working knowledge of price. You know, there's no doubt in my mind that I think price is going to come right back here. I mean, because it's going to fill that gap. So.
Well, I want to thank. I want to. Have you wrapped it up, or what would you? Okay, give your best piece of advice to both veterans and people breaking into the industry. The most important thing for them to keep in mind.
Okay.
To do this.
For me, and I have this placard, you know, on my desk, and Chris Bear said it. Blake had him on back in the Wise Trade days, and that is never let your analysis get in the way of your observation.
That's a beauty.
Secondarily to that, and I'll leave it at that, is that somebody asked Rothschild one time, how'd you make so much money? Man, you're rich. He said, I got out too early.
Okay. Kind of like a Bernard Baruch. You never go broke taking profits.
Never.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Ron. You know, some very enlightening things. It was also great meeting you in this way, and thanks for your giving nature. Or someone reached out to you in private chat, and you helped them. I really admire that, and great to have you as part of the family. And actually, I'm newer to the family, so I thank you for welcoming me to the Blake clan. You know. And have a great weekend, and thank you again for sharing your work with the community. And I think people will get a lot out of it if they didn't see it live when they watch this video. So you know, you're my trading warrior brother, and I'm rooting for you.
Well, if you're ever having a bad day, this is where you need to go. Okay. And let's see, is it coming up?
Yeah, it is.
This is the soggy dollar at Joost Van Dyke down in the BVI, and that's a great place to hang out.
Wow. You know, I fantasize about moving to the Caribbean.
So
I do. You know, I have a friend. He's always talking about St. John's starting. Yeah. You know,
it's beautiful.
One more adventure.
Yeah, St. John's,
right.
beautiful island. Thank you, Dale, for having me.
All right, Ron. It was a great talk. All right, F.A.C.E, have a great weekend. Hope that we've added value to what you're trying to accomplish here this week. Hope you had a good week. Maybe picked up a piece of Aussie Kiwi or some of the great ideas in private chat. So, you know, Ron's a great example. He's a pro. He doesn't need to be in a chat room, but he is in there and actually is paying it forward there. So, above all, don't just count your pips, count your blessings. We'll see everyone next week. Good luck on your taxes. And I'll see everyone on Monday, God willing. Enjoy your weekend. Thank you, team. Thank you, F.A.C.E. Cheers, Kareem. Your Twitter handle? Ron's Twitter handle, I have it here. It's at RMA Sale, SAIL. That's Ron's Twitter. You got it? Yeah, I don't think I've ever interviewed Chris. Invite him for me. Okay, everyone. Have a great weekend.